The McMaster Children and Youth University. What in the world?
Experts answering kids' questions.
Why do onions make your eyes water?
How much does the Earth weigh?
How long does the cold virus live outside the body?
How are rainbows made?
Do old people really shrink?
It's questionable.
Can one person change the world?
Experts answering kids' questions.
Hi, I'm Benson Honig. I'm the Teresa Cascioli Chair in Entrepreneurial Leadership at the DeGroote School of Business, McMaster University. Today, I'm going to be answering questions from kids.
Question 1.
The first question I'll be answering is from Aile. She's 11 years old, and she wants to know how entrepreneurs know how much to pay themselves. That's a very good question, Aile. Entrepreneurs often, for the first few years of their business, aren't able to pay themselves anything. So it's really important when they start that they realize it could be some years before they make more money than they spend. And for that reason, they often are encouraged to have a plan where they look at how much money they've saved and figure that for maybe as long as 3 years, you have to have enough money for their rent or their house and their food and all their expenses, and that they can't plan to be profitable until much later down the road. So many times entrepreneurs are supported by a partner or a family member or someone else while they're working to try and make their business profitable.
Question 2.
The second question is from Olwyn, age 15. And Olwyn wants to know if entrepreneurs know their customers before they start their business, or if they first invent their product and then find their customers. Olwyn, that's an amazing question. And I had the same question, so I researched that because I wanted to know the same thing. And what I discovered was that entrepreneurs who know their customers before they start their business do much, much better than those who didn't know their customer before they started their business. So you might ask, how is it that an entrepreneur knows their customer before they've created the product? And there are a few ways. One way is perhaps a person makes something for themselves. Maybe it's a new table or a new toy or a new piece of software. And a friend comes to visit them and says, wow, that's really cool. Can you make one for me? And then they do, and then they make a little money from that. And the next thing you know, word spreads and people are asking them to make these things and they have a business. So that's one way. And the other way is entrepreneurs will make something called a prototype. And they'll make a model, or sometimes it's a working model, sometimes it's not, but it's a model that's good enough that you can show to a potential customer and ask them, what do you think of this? Would you use this? Do you like the color? Do you like the size? Do you like the shape? Is this a software game you would like to play? Those kinds of questions. And they take that information to perfect the product so that before they manufacture it or sell it or deliver the service, they've already learned what the customer wants.
Cool.
Question 3.
The next question is from Jasmine, age 14. And Jasmine wants to know, do entrepreneurs always want to grow their business, or is it okay just to have a steady business that doesn't grow? Interesting question. Well, Jasmine, a lot depends on the entrepreneur. Some entrepreneurs want to grow and grow and grow, and they want to be so big, they want to be all over the world, and even then they still want to grow bigger. And other entrepreneurs, they're satisfied being perhaps a local entrepreneur, maybe someone who's a ski instructor, or someone who's a gym coach, or even someone with a small business that only has 1 or 2 employees. They're in a lifestyle business where they're happy doing what they're doing, and they're not necessarily interested in growing so much. But the idea of growth can be a problem in some ways when we think of the impact on climate change. You know, climate change comes from everyone wanting to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. We want more cars and bigger houses and bigger supermarkets, and we want to own more things. And the problem with that is there's only a limited number of resources on Earth. So there's a limit to how much we can grow. So perhaps it would be a good idea if some businesses began to think differently about growing and think that maybe they can make a contribution to our communities in different ways besides only being oriented about growing bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your questions, and see you around the neighborhood.
Thanks for watching.